You're live.
Are you sure?
We are now live.
Okay. Yes, you've told me like 4 times now.
As live as the lobster before you eat them.
That's disgusting. I saw a video of somebody who put a lobster in a pan. And I saw it moving. Not moving because the water was boiling, because the water was cold. And she turned the flames on.
Yeah, you boiled the lobster alive.
That's disgusting and inhumane.
It's a lobster.
Do you do the same thing with shrimp to start out?
I don't think so.
Because I was this close to saying, you know what? I will be vegan. But then I remembered I like steak.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I'm a hypocrite.
You have a lot of steak in it. All right.
But I refuse to eat seafood after that.
What's up, everyone? I'm the Kaiju no Kami from the Toku Animation News Network here with
Cruellica Kain.
And we are here today to talk about Boonboomger, episode 26 to 36.
Jesus, 10 episodes? Or 9?
11.
11. Oh
26 to 36.
We might have gotten through this video like 2 weeks sooner, if not for the fact that you were sick, and then I was sick, and he was sick for like 2 days. I was sick for an entire week.
Yeah. That's just how it happens. So, I actually did not pull up the Boonboomger thing. Let's see.
But I will admit, while he's looking that up, Boonboomger has been really good.
It's been really good, but I will say during this arc, Joe and Mira really took a backseat on development.
So for Mira, I actually think that's kind of fair because the first arc developed her a lot. Joe hasn't had much development. I'm hoping in the third arc.
You mean the fourth?
Fourth arc, yes.
Yeah, because Joe, my opinion of him has not changed since the last time we talked about the show, with him being my least favorite character, and I just have no idea where they're going with this character, what his character really is. So, because the only time he had any moment in this entire arc was when he was first trying to find out what is this noise people keep talking about that they're reporting, the one na 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 na. And beyond that was like his only moments of solitude for his own standalone bits, and even then, Mira started to help him out on that.
Well, yeah, but so I look at Mira from the first portion of the series to this next to the portion we just watched. I think of her as kind of like that friend mom. It's so weird to say it like this. So there's this joke on College Humor about the friend mom, if you ever see the video. And everybody attributes me to be that in our social groups. And I really think of Mira as that because basically she's like that mom telling kids on the field, you can do it, you can do it, and trying to be that positive influence. And you see her like do random jobs and things like that. But I feel as though she doesn't need more development. I know who she is. I know what she is for, what her purpose to the story is. I don't need more growth on her. I don't need more growth on Taya. Because I know who he is. I know his purpose. Now, when we go to Ishiro,
we still don't know anything on Ishiro.
We know a little bit more on him.
All we know is that he worked for the ISA.
But we also know...
And it was the ISA that had paid him to infiltrate Taya's headquarters.
But we did see that spy episode with him. going all James Bondy with the Yakuza dudes.
Oh, the gangsters from the first episode?
And then we also, like, Genba and Joe and Ishiro are the three that I need more development on. Because I don't even need more development on...
Well, and then we got development on Genba in this arc.
Yes, I feel like from what we've seen from the last episode we watched, we're going to get more development for Ishiro.
Okay, well, let's focus on right now.
No, I'm just saying from your complaints.
I know, but we'll get there. But we had a bunch of development for Genba because we get a new villain, Derace.
Which reminds me of Disgrace. It's every time.
Well, I was going to say, Derace was not in this race because he's a disgrace.
But
I should have made that the name of the video. Derace is not in this race because he's a disgrace.
We don't need an onomatopoeia. But I do have to say, even with having a new leader, Yaru is still a little shit.
The other car?
Yes. Because even with this boss,
he's still got a smart mouth.
He's still got a smart mouth that he's gonna have to pay for it somehow.
Well, I just love though
he keeps on cashing the checks and he keeps on.
Well, I love when Natasha and oh shit, no, I can't think of the other one's name. When they're all like, "Oh yeah, we'll definitely work for you, okay?" And he's like, "Really? You guys fell for that?"
Oh, he is.
Yeah, Yadukar is still my favorite of the villains. But we also got a little bit of development on them, learning that it was Mad Rex who got them to be part of the Hashi aliens.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the one that basically encouraged them, which is why they are where they're at currently when they came to Earth initially. So that was interesting because Mad Rex comes back and we actually get a little bit more development from him, despite him being the first general. Then we had more development with him being brainwashed than we were when he had his own personality.
Oh, absolutely. I loved Mad Rex in these. And I didn't hate Mad Rex.
No, I liked him the first time. It's just he didn't do much because he was only in, 2-3 episodes?
Well, exactly. But he is, and you actually find out a little bit more of the trio's backstory. I'm just going to call them Jesse and James. That's going to be their nickname. Jesse and James and Meowth. All right, come on. You can't tell me that they don't remind you of the ridiculousness of that.
Well, when people brought it up, then I'm like, oh shit, it really is just like the Team Rocket people.
Yes.
But I am going to put in my review that one scene where they get blown up. That was like, oh my god, they really could just say, Team Rocket blasting off again.
Well, and that's exactly it. But with those three, Itasha and Decotrade.
Yes, Decotrade.
But with the two of them, you actually get character development for them as well, because you see them growing up a little bit.
That's what I was saying.
Well, I know, but you get character development of them based on their memories of Mad Rex, because in these 11 episodes, their goal in life is to return their best boss's memories to him. Because you find out that Disrace is kind of like this Aztecian type.
Well, yeah, was it a snake that he had?
I thought it was a snake.
Because I think he's snake themed. Because Mad Rex was dog themed. He was snake themed. So I'm trying to figure out what the theme was for the guy before Disrace.
Well, Cannonborg, you mean?
Yeah, Cannonborg. I'm trying to remember what his theme was.
But he had like this amulet type thing that he would use like a dowsing stone on to call up things or see in like a magic mirror. And he would chain Mad Rex up at times because Mad Rex, when he comes back, he's really a shell of his former self. Pun completely intended. And the trio are so upset. They're excited to see him, but they're upset because he is not himself. So that becomes their goal. And you see how they met him, because these three were very down on their luck, constantly bullied. And Mad Rex is the one who inspired them and kind of took them under his wing, which you get a little bit more on his perspective in the latter part of these episodes as well. But I did like all of that development. I did like Disrace as well, because his story really aligns with what we find out about Genba. Because Genba, shocker,
is an alien.
I know.
Well, and I will say his alien form made me think of Kurama from Yu Yu Hakusho. That's all I thought. Oh, which is funny enough because I'm wearing my Yu Yu Hakusho t-shirt. But yeah, all I thought of was Kurama when his hair went white. I was like, oh, it's like either it's Kurama or Inuyasha.
And he's part of this world, alien world called Bareki, which basically are the arms and distribution traders of the universe. You call them for something and they can find a way to get it to you. And apparently he was the prince.
And all the stuff he's gotten for Taya and came from his spaceship.
Yes.
Because he crashed on Earth. Well, and then... So yeah, then we find out the ISA is working with the Hashi aliens, which, who was surprised at that?
I was going to say, that was like not a shocker.
Meanwhile, Naito is working with the ISA, but I don't think he's truly going to betray Taya. I think it's more that he's going to use his position to give information to Taya later. He'll just do a fake out on betraying him.
Do you think he's going to be that sacrifice himself character?
Possibly.
Because
I don't think he's truly going to betray Taya though. He'll, like I said, he'll probably pretend to do so, and we'll have several episodes of Taya being depressed over it, and then he'll reveal that he was actually doing it in the best interest for Taya.
Well, I could see him having already had a relationship with the ISA before he met Taya, like years and years and years ago, that it was just kind of the nature of the beast because he's a businessman. You might as well have lobbying relationships.
Well, and we saw that he is developing multiples of the Boonboomger killer robot.
Mm-hmm. So that will come into play, and it will be a little fun with it.
So yeah, we had the new weapon was given to the Hashi aliens.
Mm-hmm.
We had Genba leaving for several episodes, which was kind of interesting.
Now, he was still there in the show. I was actually happy because I was a little afraid it was going to be like the ice dude from Lupot, the villain, the ice villain.
Oh, Zamigo,
who... he would come and go and he would be gone. So I was a little fearful that it would be like that his character would just literally be off screen doing things. But I actually liked how, even though they were completely separate, there were still things going on, even with him, that the audience got to see.
Well, it was interesting because he actually had like the Sixth Ranger syndrome,
mm-hmm.
The Sixth Ranger, where he left for a little bit, which was an interesting twist, and him doing his own little journey. I liked how the opening song removed a lot of the sequences showing of him as Boon Orange.
Well, I think they did that because it noticed from the last time I watched it that they just pushed it forward. So it was like literally in your face. But I did like that. I actually liked how having a separation of the teams actually made the 4 other Boonboomgers without Violet much stronger. It gave them an opportunity to really develop their collaboration to be able to work together much better.
Now, the one thing I will say I was not a fan of was the constant reuse of the older monsters.
Now, admittedly, you have to give credit. There were times where they made use of it in a very tongue-in-cheek
because
manner.
in episode 26, they go and bring back the toilet monster, which is like, oh, we have this crap again. But I did love how Shiro is like, don't let the water touch you. Don't let the water touch you. Otherwise, it'll make you be fully honest and tell your secrets. And then we have everyone. Then we have what's his name?
Joe?
Sakito.
Oh, Sakito.
Is like, oh, cool. I want to get that. So he gets splashed. He's like, yeah, now I'm honest, and
nothing changed.
And then Taya is like, oh, and Ishiro gets splashed, and then they're like, oh, it's just
water.
Regular water. So there is this one doesn't have a side effect to it.
And it was kind of funny because even the monster was all disappointed.
And then he starts taking toilet rolls out of people because that was like the people's motivation. It's like, okay, I'm just going to roll with it.
Now, I do have to say there was a little development for Joe when we got to episode 28 because of him having to help deliver feelings based on the monster. Because that was the one, Switch Off the Lights, that features the raid team Captain Madrex, who came back after his defeat in episode 9.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Oh, wait.
He was doing the searching for
yes,
the one.
Shut up. I know now. I'm going crazy.
I'm like, why are you reading me the description off of the fandom page?
Shut up.
But
kiss my ass.
Okay, so then our next episode was the family one with the crime family from the first episode. And that was kind of interesting to see Sakito and Buundi distract them while Shishiro did whatever the ISA.
Mainly because Sakito has come to a conclusion that 2 things that we've learned earlier in the series. 1, he's terrible at money. 2, Buundi hoards all the money. And 3, he eats like a vacuum, so he needs to make money. So apparently Sakito wants to be hired because he does it multiple times in these episodes. He just wants to be hired so he can just make some cash on the side, even though nobody pays him. He just feels like he's important. So he thought he was all cool in this when he was hired. And Buundi is such like that. Yes, yes. You did a good job. But
and then he takes the scroll from the family that was going to guarantee them some position in the Hosh aliens when they took over the Earth.
But I do have to say, I like how characters from earlier in the series, even some of the monsters from earlier in the series, as much as you might complain, there is something fun about the fact that they're doing it in a new manner. Like, even when they brought back some of the other monsters, the Stone Brothers, or Stone Siblings now. Because...
they weren't siblings originally.
Well, I know, but they kept on calling them Stone Brothers, But
okay, so then we have... which the ISA gets a hold of the scroll. So from the way he was talking is they now have all of the scrolls that were given to people on Earth
Mhm.
for the Hush aliens. Let's see, 30. What was 30? 30 was more Mad. That was like, I think the one where Mad Rex really went out on
Yes.
and God, now I'm trying to remember.
Well, it also goes back in history. This is the one that really shows the background.
Oh yes, the backstory for
the trio. Really understanding, and then Mad Rex gave him a quote that Decatrate stands for all the time of, until they accepted their defeat, they're not losing. So basically, you're winning if you haven't accepted defeat.
And then 31 was probably the weakest episode of this batch, which was the curry shop one. It was a funny episode, but it was pretty much a filler episode.
So it was a filler episode, but I think what I loved about it is, one, it's a reminder of how stupid the entirety of the team is. Because Sakito is the first one eating this curry when they go to investigate the other curry shop, and him and Bluesky are like in it to win it. So you then have Ichiro, and I think it's Joe that's with them, go in to also eat the curry just to find out what's going on.
Yeah, because they were supposed to scope out why everyone is going to this curry shop instead of the one ladies.
And so what was the best part about it is when you find out what the curry is made of, think of Soylent Green.
But we had, I will say that episode made me hungry.
Is that the episode? No, because you and I watched the episode, so we did not go to have curry.
No.
But there are times if Silver Quill is here and we're three watching it. I don't eat curry, but I like going along for the ride. They'll be like, huh, we now want curry. So then we go out to have curry. But I actually enjoyed the curry episode, mainly because they started doing all of this ridiculous stuff, tricking everybody to go to the right side with the good people who should have this curry shop. But so it was a filler, but it was a fun filler for me.
Well, before we do the next episode,
look at some of the comments.
Yeah, let's go through some of the comments.
All righty then. So to start off, if technology doesn't fail me, Michael Senna says, hey, Kaiju, the main villain of Boonboomger is Rarudo Spindo. The leader of the Hashiran is voiced by Koji Yusa, who is the voice of Yurotaros in Kamen Rider Den-O.
Yep, which is what we were talking about yesterday. Same with, as he says, with Granite, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's the voice of Wolzard.
And then we have Anthony, who says, greetings. Star Wars fan, hello to both of us. And then Jake Schuster says, Mira reminds him of being like a big sister, which, yeah, I absolutely do agree there. She could be like that friend mom, big sister, because she has that energy. And then Grant likes your t-shirt of Yu Yu Hakusho. Jake says, oh, Blue Reckoning coming soon. So that's what I was going to say. When we get to the later part, I definitely see more coming for that whole spy
that's what it looked like episode 37 is going to be.
And then, yeah, what Genba's true form was surprising because he looked like Inuyasha. I actually did get a little bit more Inuyasha as well compared to Kurama, but he did look like Kurama as well. I will say for how dark his skin tone is naturally, that white hair looks so bad on him. I was like, thank God he went back to his orange, because it kind of like washed him out. And I know.
Oh, I like also the reasoning that he is energized by sweets.
Okay, that's a diabetic's nightmare, but I did think that was cool.
All I know is I want more of the Lollipop Detective. I want another Lollipop Detective episode.
Oh, God. And then Grant says, what I loved about Genba was the reveal to be a space alien that was dressed up as a human. Thank you. And then, Star Wars fan says Deco Trade is the other guy. Grant says, the Deco Trade was the number one who murdered Genba's people. Oh, Disgrace. Yes.
Disgrace.
And took over the remaining people.
Well, I think he said his dad was put in prison. He didn't. I don't think he said his dad was killed.
Well, I think his dad was put. No, I think his dad was killed. His people were put in prison. I could be wrong.
I thought it was that his dad was in prison because they did a fraudulent claim on him.
But I do like that Grant agrees with me that I made a great point because the villains do look like Team Rocket vibes. Jake says it is a stake for Disgrace for that Cobra theme. And the Boonboomger Robo Champion mech fight was amazing. We get that soon.
Oh, we haven't covered. Okay,
Yeah.
We haven't covered that yet in the episode.
Also, I did like how Boon Red was not the only ranger to get an upgrade. So we're going to talk about that too because I liked it. Disgrace murdered Genba's people. Another shout out for Inuyasha. And that's actually cool, Grant. His first manga was Inuyasha. Actually, that was one of the, not the first manga I watched, but that was one of the earlier animes when I knew what anime was I really got into. To the point where I got the...
Obviously, you didn't watch the manga.
No. Well, technically, if you're watching anime, you are kind of watching
But you
manga.
said not watch. I wasn't watching the manga.
Bless you. But I did read the manga. I never got into the manga as much as I did the anime. But I think that's because Rumiko Takahashi has a way with her manga. And Naruto was the first anime that got me into anime. So I am not going to pick on you for that, Grant. Like some people I pick on for Naruto, but you know what? If that's the way that you got into anime and you stayed, there is nothing wrong with that. Boon Violet is awesome. And Grant agrees. There was a reason why Genba left because he wanted to face Disgrace on his own. Absolutely. And I actually like the discussion on that we're going to talk about in the next episode recap. And for a while, Genba wasn't in the intro. Genba is not a Sixth Ranger. No, he's not a Sixth Ranger.
I'm just saying he had the Sixth Ranger moment of leaving the team for several episodes.
Which is not common for one of the main
Which
Rangers.
A Sixth Ranger would usually do.
So I kind of feel like Genba and Joe in a way, because they do have different henshin devices compared to the three core members. I think of it like Geki Ranger in a way, where you are a 3-ranger team and everybody else on top of it is more auxiliary. Oh boy, Kaji BS rant again.
It's about for the monsters. They waste money with waste spelled as the toilet.
The reason why they were using those monsters, is because of why waste more money. When you can reuse them, called recycling. See, they're doing right for the world. They're recycling. Isn't it use, recycle, reuse? Isn't that supposed to, what was the old slogan for recycling? Because apparently back in the 90s, we had to have slogans to recycle because we were bad human beings in the 90s.
We're still bad human beings. Because Only what, 12 states actually recycle?
Yeah, and it's the states that you normally wouldn't think would recycle that recycle. Ultraman does it a lot with reusing kaijus at times.
Yes.
Which even if he doesn't do it on reviews, I can promise you, he does it when I'm watching with him, to the point I hate watching Ultraman with him at times. I'm like, what the hell? This has nothing to do with the show. They're just bringing in a damn kaiju from an old year. He does more than that. Looks like I found kaiju's most hated word, recycling. Yeah, it's his trigger word. Hey, Star Wars fan, leave Ultraman out of this. Favorite episode was the one with the ATM monster. It was funny as hell. Blue using black as a shield because he was broke, and Violet's mech saving money behind his
That
back.
was still probably my favorite episode of the show still.
I think it was my favorite mainly because Ishiro did use Joe as a shield.
Let's see.
But overall, this series is all right. I like their Sixth Ranger, Sakito. In fan-made Power Rangers adaptations, Boone Violet should be from the future. Oh, God. Future.
So it can be a Deca break thing.
And then, let's see. Where do we go?
Okay. Yeah. Well, since they're bringing up the Tokuger crossover in the comments, let's stop reading there to talk about the Tokuger crossover.
So I'm going to start with one thing. I have not watched all of Tokuger. However, this lovely human being to my right decided I needed to see the episodes with Toku Orange, is he called?
No, he is
whatever he is.
What do they call? Because they use numbers, they don't use colors.
Oh, yeah. But nonetheless, this Tokuger, who is older than the literal children, no matter what their teenage years are, they're still children, technically. And he is dark as fuck. I know that's probably going to get us demonetized slightly, but he is dark. Even during what he showed me of Tokuger, I'm like, so this man is talking about dying?
Yes.
Where he wants to go to die, how he needs to die, how he should die, how he doesn't care if he dies. I was like, this man is obsessed with death. Which, in some ways, that's good for like a mortician because it's your job, but not for a man who's supposed to be saving the world. So when you have, in the episode starting, when you have Genba just like completely lost because he got his ass handed to him, and Sakito is trying to...
No, the actor is actually younger than me.
Seriously? How old is he?
He was born in 85.
He does. He looks older than me.
Yeah, because I was like, I thought he was in his 30s when he was in Tokuger.
That man looks older than me. So that's already a strike for Japanese. If you can have people who actually look older than me who are younger than me.
But anyway,
anyways,
I love that Genba's being all depressed because they patched him up, and then they just started hearing this music.
Oh, God. This harmonica.
And they're like, huh?
And then you see him. I'm just going to call him because
Akira?
he's... Akira, yeah. He's sitting, he has his one leg over his other. At first, I did not see the stool, so I thought he was positioning himself against the wall. And he is just like so depressed. He then takes care of Genba by giving him the most flashiest bandages ever. I was like, I don't even think a 5-year-old wants those damn things. And then just talks about, well, you're looking for a place to die. And I'm like, this is the happiest show we have right now. And you want to bring death into it? And
Those Orange Rangers have to stick together.
Oh my god, because yes, Genba was getting all into it. I was like, are we going to have a suicide pact? Is this where we're going today? Where we're going to have a suicide circle reference in our Power Rangers Sentai shit? I was like, there's no way you can translate suicide pacts into America.
Suicide Sentai Killager.
But I seriously was like, okay, so the two of us are going to have a suicide pact because we're Orange Rangers. That means we need to get the dude from Geki Ranger, even though he's not considered an Orange Ranger, so that he can be in.
Well, and we got to get
we got in Scorpion.
Yeah, Scorpio from Q Ranger.
I'm like, let's just get every Orange together, and they can be their own suicide pact. Because Scorpio basically was that too.
But then
I think about it, because he was all suicide-y.
But then we have our monster, which is a train, which was pretty cool. He's on track for being one of my favorites.
I actually love the fact that when you first hear about the whole monster after he's created, because it's accidentally created by Tasha when she trips. And then, so we see that, and then essentially the next thing we really see after the monster just like comes in front of Genba, Akira, and all that, is we see this monster running in like this samba fashion with a whole bunch of people, including our Team Rocket friends, holding on to him.
Well, I like the fact that Decatray was holding Atasha or Yurikar onto the back of Atasha.
And
or
then,
was it?
I know what you meant. Yeah, either way. But then we have all of the other Boonboomgers seeing now Sakito, Boondi, Genba, and Akira just holding on to this, and you have the train monster saying, "You can't stop me. You can't stop the train." And
you have Mira and Joe and.
Well, no, they didn't come on.
No, I thought they were before.
No, they came on after we see the foursome of the Suicide Pact.
Okay, and then we have the by the way, if you stop this train, we all blow up. What?
I liked how the trio was like, wait, we blow up? Why are we here? Why are we stuck here?
And then we have Toku 1 comes in, and they end up forming and then they end up forming this like circular track. Mm-hmm. So that everyone's just going in a circle nonstop to separate them.
Well, it was hilarious. And then after they're going through all of that,
and then Boondi gets sick from all of it.
From motion sickness.
So he can't even participate in the final battle.
So it's Akira, Akira. It is Raito.
Raito, yes.
Who gives him
the Toku what is it? Toku.
I don't care, it's a henshin device. But anyways.
Well, he gives him the mech, which unlike Goonboomger, it was the actual physical mech suit, except the inside was all CGI. Because Sakito and Wright were all in front of a green screen, clearly. But I did like when he sits him down, he's like, yeah, you can drive this.
No, I liked when Raito says, and don't worry, you'll get there. And the hole opens up right under Sakito, and he just falls. I was like, oh, that's a portal gun.
But I like when he's trying to maneuver, he's like, I can't get this to turn. So he just breaks it off and puts his own stick in there.
Oh, God, I know. But I did like all of that. Now, one thing that I also like that was kind of a plot element is after Akira tries to help Genba in his very special way. I'll just put it out there. Genba then tries to help Mad Rex, who we find out does have his memories again. And talking about, well, I think you're looking for a place to die. So we're passing this forward, and they're having their own conversation, which I actually thought was really cool, between Genba and Mad Rex. And then Mad Rex basically is the one who motivates Genba to want to go back to the team. So we have our villain, who is an awesome villain, but also now I'm conflicted because he's actually an awesome being who likes people. And when Genba's like, well, what about your team? He's like, well, I'm already dead. And I'm like, oh my God, I give up on this episode.
Well, and then like though, we have the episode go through, they take off the thing that was controlling him, but he still is going to end up dying because he's got all the energy that's going to blow up.
Now, this is where we also get our power-up.
Yep.
Because our power-up is actually, to me, the first time, I will say, outside of Carnival, the coolest power-up.
The jackets?
I love, because so they're in that racetrack theme. If you go to actual NASCAR racing where you have professional racers, not where we went, not anything against those racers, but when you go to like Formula One, the entire team that's in the pit crew has those matching jackets. So it reminded me completely of Formula One. Of like, okay, so we're really doubling down into this Formula One theme where they're racers, so they have the racing jackets for their pit crew. So I actually like that power up because those jackets, you'll probably complain, I'll let you go in a minute, but I actually thought those jackets fit well with the design and the coloring of their suits.
No, I'm just shocked because the way you made it sound like yesterday is...
I loved them.
Because the way you sounded was like, oh, really?
At first I was, oh, really? But then when I saw a little bit more of how they used it, because it has the ability to get customizable weapons, for them to do their power-up, and for everybody to have that ability to initiate the power-up.
Yes, it's nice that they all get the power-up instead of just one specific ranger getting the power-up.
Red.
Actually, that's the one thing, though. Red has not used his rescue form, I don't think, at all during this arc, because we barely even saw Leo for the mechs.
But I did like how all that went down. So obviously, we get that opportunity to see the fight with all of them.
And then Mad Rex goes off into space to blow up.
Well, no, it's not that episode where Mad Rex goes into space.
Yeah, it is.
Mad Rex goes into space in episode 33.
Yeah, that's what I'm referencing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because that's where they got the power up.
Yes.
Because the next two episodes has our little Mad Max bit.
Oh God, yes. So when
which is a shame that Mad Rex is gone, because you could have cut, as I was thinking about doing for the thing, Mad Rex Fury Road.
So we get this loving
brand new mech.
Well, I was going to talk about the welcome home party.
Oh.
I thought that was so adorable because everybody is like going crazy. They're happy. Now they're focused on the next step, and that's the BBGP.
The Big Bang Grand Prix. And they have their new mech that was actually hinted at episodes ago. And, there is one thing, though. Episode 33 did have that was really weird at the beginning, that Boonboomger can now full merge with the Toku mechs, which that was just odd.
So they talk a little bit more about the Boom Boom Killer trailer.
But then we have our heroes are driving in the desert, and the villains start coming at them. We've got the awesome guitar dude, and oh my god, we actually are having Mad Max Fury Road. The guys are like, I'm just waiting for to have somebody go mediocre.
Oh, it was. So, is it this episode we find out about Boomer?
Yes.
So, in this episode, we now find the next twist in our story, which, once again, I ask, who was truly surprised? In all honesty, were you surprised?
Oh.
And I'm not saying that was a bad surprise. We find out that Boondario had worked for the Hashialins to the point where he was actually kind of in their inner circle.
Well, I love when Disrace reveals it and he leaves. And then next episode, he's all like, yep, well, after my reveal, they're all probably breaking down and not going to want to be a team anymore and all that stuff.
I know! So, okay, Bluesky is super hella pissed, which admittedly, based on how they came back together and what you heard when when Bluesky and Sakito came in, completely makes sense. I understand why him and Sakito were very upset. Now, with the others, one, you find out that Taiga knew, because apparently he knows everything.
Taiga
knew. Ishiro.
Yes.
But Ishiro knew because of his work with the ISA. I thought.
No. Because the ISA didn't know about it.
Oh, yes, you're right. So, yeah, Taiga and Ishiro knew. Mira and Joe
are like,
they were like, oh my god! And then they run up to him.
Well, Mira's like, how many? There's way too many secrets in this team.
Oh, yes. That was the best line of the episode of how many more secrets can we have? And then her and Joe.
Because Boomer's like, well, I was afraid if I told you, you'd all leave.
Which obviously Bluesky did. But Mira and Joe walk up to him, holding his hands, talking about how they will never leave him, how they're a team for life. So it always makes me laugh when Disrace is like, oh yeah, they all hate each other now. And
one thing actually I forgot to mention for the Tokuger episode, I liked how they used the screwdriver car to take away the track from the monster when they were in the Mac form.
Now there is one other thing I forgot to mention for that. Because when you see Toku 1, I'm assuming, for rights,
Toku Ichigo.
I was like, oh, they just have a suit actor and they phoned it in with his voice. So when you get to the end and you actually see him.
Well, my thing was I was more like, okay, so are they going to use the kid now that he's grown up, or are they still going to use the actor who played the adult version of Rex?
Oh, I was wondering. Well, I was kind of wondering that as well, because Tokuger was how many years ago?
10 years ago.
Okay, yeah, 10th anniversary. So the kid who would have played him would be like 19, 20 now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that making sense, but yeah, when he unmasked and it was the actor, I was like, oh, they didn't just phone it. Because I'm so used to when they sometimes have special guests that they just phone it in and the actual actor is not there.
Well, I guess it would be 11 years because I think it was 2000.
Well, whatever.
14.
But
13.
So in episode 35, we find out so much more because we also get the first appearance of the big boss who.
Well, first we get also Boomer's complete backstory of what happened. That he was sabotaged to end up getting his license revoked. And yeah, we meet Wildo Spinder.
Who, honestly, if he was an actual...
Wyaldo. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking to see how
Wildo Spinder.
So, yeah, Warudo Spindo.
Wildo.
Oh, spin world? Maybe?
Well, that's probably what it's supposed to mean, like a world spinner or something.
But I will say, if the way they had his design, I was like, if that actually looked like a human, like an actual person just like that,
no,
I would be like in love.
No, actually, what I love though, the first time we meet him is like every crime boss, he's in the middle of dinner.
Now, here's a question.
And then though, I thought you killed him. You told me you killed him. Just boom.
Well, I thought of Joe Pesci, admittedly, from any of our like
Goodfellas and stuff,
because Joe Pesci would be that actor who's like, wait, you told me you killed him. Or not Joe Pesci, Paulie, not the actor.
Sorvino's actor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Paul Sorvino's actor.
Now I want to watch Goodfellas.
No shit. But also at the same time, when he's sitting there and he's not doing much. He's eating, he's killing. All I was thinking was, why wasn't this the type of person we had in Lupin?
And
I'm like, he is more Italian than what we got in Lupin.
And he dresses like Michael Jackson. But so we have we get Boomer's backstory. We get the new mech combination and what's his name's destruction. Disrace's destruction.
Oh, which was glorious.
Well, I like when they're like, okay, Genba, you get the final attack. Oh, he ran away.
Well, I also like the fact that when Disrace is yelling for our trio to support him, and they're like, and they're on the ground, he's like, well, you're fired. But help me. No, we're leaving now. And I was like, you little shit. I love it. But so far, I did like his end because just like with Cannonborg, it was so warranted.
I did like him more than Cannonborg.
Oh, yes.
Cannonborg, I will say right now, was by far the most boring of the three villains we've had.
And then after we have that, we're now officially into our next arc.
Yep.
And to kick off our next arc, we get... How many years has it been since you've seen that logo?
Toys R Us?
Like an official logo for Toys R Us where you go into a
All I know is like, Toys R Us in a Sentai show. You have betrayed me.
And I had to remember, so...
Why did it have to be Toys R Us?
And
then it's like plastered everywhere. There's a sign outside. There's a sign by the door.
They had
There's a sign
Jeffrey.
inside. And they had Jeffrey, and they go inside, and there's toys everywhere. Like,
they had Jeffrey everywhere. And so when
and Mira is working for Toys R Us.
Yeah, she has the actual uniform. But when I was growing up, Jeffrey had this whole logo, the jingle of I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Which played at the store all the time.
And every kid from the 80s and 90s, because especially when my friend Angela worked for Toys R Us, because we would go there, hang out for hours while she's working and play with all the toys, because we were horrible teenagers, but we would walk around and sing the song because we knew it by heart. Every kid who grew up with Toys R Us knew that song by heart.
But And then we have Mira's friend, who is played by Flint, or Zox's sister, and she is being forced to take an office job by her parents because they don't think she's going anywhere with her life. Because heaven forbid somebody make their own decisions. And
I'm sorry, but as the homemaker, I do think that my partner should be willing to listen and enact some of my decisions. House husband.
who are you talking to? But she ends up getting Mira's boom changer. I don't remember if it was just she showed it to her or
No, she handed it to her because she forgot to take it off at work. Her manager scolded her for it, and Aki was about done for the day, so she took off her boom changer and gave it to her so she can work. And Aki,
she took off with it.
well, and I think Aki was hoping because Mira, when she comes in, she's addressed like she's the hero of all heroes.
That's the other thing with Mira. I did like where she's got her own boom break card.
Yes.
She'll give to the boss. Here, I'm going on a boom break. Because she's got to go take care of a monster while working.
Well, I actually legit feel it's kind of awesome that all of her employers, because she literally works at every business in their town. Okay, she reminds me of Donna Noble in being that like super temp.
I was gonna say the temp.
And so having a boom break, I like the fact that her bosses are legit okay. But I do have to say, her and Taiga were assholes for like 2 minutes.
Oh, that was hilarious when they're just like, yeah, we're just going to watch her have this epic failure.
Because she is standing in front of the monster of the week, trying to...
It was the ice one, right?
Was it the ice one?
Because the vacuum, or was it... Wait, who was dealing with vacuum and who was dealing with ice?
Well, that's what I'm trying to...
Well, whatever. But she goes, presses it the 3 times, and she's like, yes! Why is nothing changing?
And so you have both of them just standing there with their arms crossed. And then even Sakito is like, seriously, people? You're just going to let her suffer? And so in my HR realm, I will throw people a rope to hang themselves, but I will not literally just watch as they hang themselves. I will try to see if I can step in and prevent it. And I'm like, dudes, this is why none of you are in HR. This is why you have so many secrets, because y'all are just going to let people hang themselves. And then after Mira helps take her away, and then she has to go fight the monster, and she's like, all you had to do is spin this wheel and you would have changed. I'm like, you bitch. And then she's like, do you want to try? I'm like, wow, Mira, can you play passive aggressive any more like an American? Please.
And then they defeat the monsters, and we have then Spinder, his prison, because he's apparently out in prison. So this asteroid he's in is his prison cell.
Once again, it's like Goodfellas, because Polly was running their entire
and
network.
then Wheels come out. I don't know why Wheels, and it starts just going towards Earth.
And you were so hilarious, because you're like, what the hell?
Why would it need Wheels for
He was in a rock prison, still running his empire, just like Paul Sorvino, in jail at Rikers, running their entire operation. I'm like, dude, once again, how more Italian can
So,
you be?
yeah, I was like, so not only was he introduced while eating his dinner, he was introduced eating his dinner, this big meal in prison with a servant of his there standing with him that he kills in prison.
Now I'm trying to think, was he eating prison gravy? So prison gravy is, just for anybody who's never seen Goodfellas, that's the recipe that it's called, but it's red sauce. It's just Italians don't call their red sauce spaghetti sauce. Like most people are like, hey, do you want some spaghetti sauce with this? And it's like, it's red sauce. It's not spaghetti sauce.
Well, that's because it goes to more than just spaghetti.
I know. I was raised around Italians.
I like the pink sauce.
Which pink sauce is Alfredo and red sauce mixed together. So it has that like creaminess of the Alfredo, and it has the
texture of
tanginess of the tomato.
Yeah.
So yeah. But once again, I'm like, are you Italian or are you Italian? There's differences of Italians because obviously Luke Bott was.
Are you a meatball or a noodle?
He was like, I'm Italian in name, where Spindo is like, I'm Italian. I can tell you where to go. So it's quite fascinating, but overall, I am going to say once again, I'm impressed with Boonboomger because after how serious King Oger was, when they were talking about Boonboomger being released, they were talking about the fact that it was going to be kiddie, that was going to be more childish because of the fact that you had a very serious show after basically an adult comedy. So Don Brothers is that adult comedy for kids. Come on, with how much they had on love triangles.
No, that was for fans who grew up, the older fans.
Okay, fine. So
Showa and early Heisei Sentai.
So fine. Don Brothers is that love letter to Toku fans. King Oger was basically saying we can do Game of Thrones
better
with giant mechs and color-coded suits. And then you have all that talk about, well, Boonboomger is going to be more kid-friendly. I do not think this show is more kid-friendly.
Well, it's not really more that it's strictly kid-friendly. It's strictly safe.
But with some of the things that they're doing,
but I
don't think it's as safe as like when we talk about the recent
arc
Ultraman series.
Right. They've definitely gotten a lot. This arc definitely did a lot more new things with it, having the whole Genba story aspect, Mad Rex, his development. This arc definitely made up for the lack of story from Lap 2.
Mm-hmm.
Because Lap 2 was a lot of filler. This one was like, we're getting right to the point, right at the start, and we're only going to have essentially one filler-esque episode.
Well, I think Lap 2, you needed, after the first arc, you needed that little bit of breathing room. Which sometimes is what filler does.
Lap 2 was also had the least amount of writing from the head writer.
Yes. Now, do you want me to get back to comments?
I was going to say, let's finish up, get comments, and then we can start dinner.
So we have that. Now we get to the Tokuger crossover. And we got like 4 comments speaking about now the Tokuger crossover. And I like Jake Schuster's comment of it's not made of people. This time it's not, but generally I think of Soylent Green. Speaking of Deno, when are you going to give us Kamen Rider Deno review? Answer me, damn it.
I don't know. 2 years from now?
So kaiju actually, Grant, because Grant says I have a sweet tooth and I knew kaiju does. So kaiju doesn't have a sweet tooth for like lollipops or regular like color-coded candy like Skittles, things like that. He likes chocolatey that's going to have more of a salty sometimes or a very savory taste like dark chocolate. Or he loves peanut butter. So that's his version of a sweet tooth. Speaking of Naruto, I drew all 12 Naruto characters, including Naruto's good girl, Hinata. I know Hinata because I always thought it was cool that she looked blind. I don't know if she was blind.
They're not blind.
Oh, they're not blind.
No,
okay.
They just look it.
And then Goonboomger did start off the series with 3 heroes and later adding 4 new members.
Well, you forgot Thea Games 10 says hi.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hi, Thea Games. And then Geki Ranger did that Hurricaneger with the Aba Rangers. Yeah, Geki Ranger, Hurricaneger. You can even go with Aba Ranger. There's a lot of teams, and I kind of feel like Boonboomger is very similar, where it's really Boon red, blue, and yellow as the true core 3, and then everybody else is kind of like additions that are bonuses. So Thea Game says, I'm liking the series so far, especially now that we are in what is being called the final lap. The only thing I don't like is that the opening sequence has not been updated for Boon Violet.
Since Boon Violet.
Well,
like I said,
even the endings speak with
the ending is what bothers me more than the opening. Because the opening, they still took things away when Genba was gone. But the ending, I don't like how the stage is big enough
that they
for
could put
6, but they decided just to add in Sakito into like
little bubbles.
Just throw him in there, chroma key. Yeah, that's the one thing I don't like.
So I will give. So Grant says I will give Goonboomger 1 point of not having a Red Ranger having an annoying catchphrase. Oh, and he was called Toku 6.
Yes, or Toku.
I'm just gonna call him Nihilism. He's Toku Nihilism. There's his name. I've officially renamed the 6th Ranger of Tokuger. And the 6th Ranger was a member of the villains. Yeah, I remember that because he was either talked about in his intro or you told me.
Because he's from the Shadow Line originally.
But I still think he's Nihilism. And the Range Ranger from Toku didn't have any annoying catchphrase. But sadly, Tokuger did have a big ball of what the fuck final mecha. I will still say nothing is worse than El Cluster Fucko. And when you get to that point in
Killinger's mentor would be that Operator Killer.
Yes, I would love that. The part I liked within the Tokuger crossover was when Boon Violet inserted his own controller henshin device into the mecha and Wright saying, wait, you can't do that. And yeah, when he said you can't do that, I'm like...
He's using his imagination.
And so Star Fan also agrees with you on the Michael Jackson comparison. And yeah, I actually don't know if Kaiju knows about this. Do you remember Michael Jackson having a pet chimpanzee back in the day?
No.
So it's not...
I actually know very little about Michael Jackson, other than he apparently held his baby over a balcony on a tower or something.
Blanket. Yeah.
Like it was the Lion King or something.
So
that's all I really know about Michael Jackson and beyond. He also went from black to white.
I am not going to go there because there's a lot of controversy on that. But I've always been a huge fan of Michael Jackson. But yeah, back in the 80s, early 90s, he had a pet, I think it was either a pet monkey or a pet chimpanzee. So even further on it, that yes, his hairstyle is just like Michael Jackson.
So that was a monkey he
that
Spindo
has. So yeah, because his hair is like Michael's during his Man on the Moon phase. And No, Man in the Mirror, I mean. And then the monkey is from that. The Red Jacket's from Thriller.
Thriller.
Yeah, his monkey is still alive.
Thriller. That's where that jacket
Thriller.
looked familiar from.
And then I like Star Wars fan comment. Wait, there's Toys R Us in Japan. So for all of us Americans, Toys R Us does not exist anymore. I don't know if it exists in Canada though. Does it? Because I know it does in Europe and Asia. So basically, when Toys R Us was bought out by that investment company, it was just for America. Everywhere else, outside of Canada, I don't know about Canada, has it.
Star Wars fan, that was a code.
It was ice to see that monster again. V Scorpio, hello. And then Spindo could be the Godfather for all we know. Oh my God, dude, that would be awesome.
I was trying to bring that up, but yeah.
I'm sorry, Goodfellas, Paul Sorvino is better for me.
Because I was trying to bring up that Dogranio brings offers you refuse. Spindo has offers you can't refuse.
See, Dogranio, that makes sense playing the whole Godfather bit with the offers you can't refuse. That makes sense for what that series was. I personally think Spindo is more like the Goodfella Casino era of gangster movies. Now, I just thought about something. I want to see a scene with Spindo, Dogranio.
Well, since he was...
And wait. And just because it would be ridiculous because he has that Italian name, Greedo. Not Greedo. What was his name from King Oger? Grodo.
Oh, Grody.
Oh, Grody, Spindo.
Well, no, what I was going to say is because Dogranio is still technically alive because they never destroyed him at the end of Lupot.
No, he's in a prison.
Yeah, he's in the prison, the Potts Ranger's prison, so they could always bring him back in some future crossover.
That would actually be fucking awesome. Have like a mobster, like if we could get like a true mobster villain group, if this is not it.
Well, okay, you missed one though. The true Godfather one. Time Ranger.
Oh, the villains from Time Ranger?
Donero.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. So we can have Donero, Dogranio. We could have Spindo. And then just for the shit of it, because I like it, we can have Grody. Because he sounds just like an Italian name. Grody. It rolls off the tongue. Just don't try to speak fake Italian like what we have in Inglourious Bastards.
It's a me, Mario.
Buongiorno, grazie. There is so much more to Italiano.
But, yeah. Have,
Are there any other like Italian bosses?
I'm trying to think like
because it would be so cool to have a team up short of our Italian bosses.
I'm trying to remember who was the other guy.
So, but next, nonetheless, the preview for the episode with Flint's actress made.
I was gonna bring that up. So we didn't actually watch the preview for episode 36. Remember, because we So when we were watching it, I was like, oh my God, because you know how she did the thing to split into two? I'm like, I'm betting in the trailer, they make it look like that both of them have transformed into Boon Pink because there's two Boon Pinks. We actually did not watch the trailer, but that was in my mind like, I'm wondering if the trailer did this.
Now, will Gojuger be kiddie or serious? Is that the next one?
Yeah.
That's a tongue twister.
All I know is, to me, all I'm thinking of is the Jew Ranger costumes with the Gold Ranger capes.
Now, the games, I like to Star Wars fan says, I feel like from what is being said about Gojuger, it's basically going back to basics with probably a more anniversary aspect.
Ooh, we can only hope.
And Thea Game says, so you're saying kaiju isn't GOV coded? Anthony Sarkis says, I never liked the trope when Sentai Seasons introduces the main antagonist later on, and I prefer they're introduced in the beginning of the series. So I understand exactly where you're coming from, Anthony, because sometimes when you have them revealed so late in the series, it can kind of feel like they may be either shoehorned in or they have them and then they bum rush to finish the story, but you're not given much to work with on the final film.
In this case, I think it works in the show's favor because originally when the trio came to Earth, their job was to scout and collect gasoline.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mad Rex showed up to assist them, and then Mad Rex destruction started making the heads go, wait, there's something going on Earth. That's why they sent Cannonborg, who then reported that they are having issues. And when Cannonborg failed, that's when everything escalated.
Mm-hmm. But I also think of it as kind of like a Silver Surfer type thing.
Silver Surfer.
Because Silver Surfer is a herald of Galactus. So you have these heralds coming, and they have referenced throughout the series that there is a big boss out there. Even Boomer mentioned the big boss. So I kind of feel like they did a lot of pre-work. And my fear, even though I like Spindo so far from what I've seen, my fear is that they pumped him up to be such a threat, he turns out to be nothing.
But at the same time, though, we had Degranio, going back to Lupat, who was introduced in the beginning and did nothing the entire show, to the point where you're like, okay, so why is this guy even the big bad when he has done jack shit?
Now, okay, I'm going to ask a question because I know we're not at the end of what we're watching, because the three of us, the two of us, including Silver Quill, so three of us, are watching Charlie Brown Ranger.
Gingaman.
I just call it Charlie Brown Ranger. But their main leader, he's been around since the beginning, but he's been kind of just sitting at the background.
But he also did participate in the initial battle at the start.
But does he come in to be the threat that his leaders are making him out to be?
Yes.
So he actually follows through with it.
Well, you'll see when we get there.
But that's the kind of the risk I feel, and so that's why I don't disagree, Anthony, because I've seen it go both ways. Where if you have somebody introduced very early on in the series and they do nothing, or if you have them introduced early on in the series and they do everything, where, like, I think of Car Ranger. You had all the villains introduced in the early part of the series.
No. Because remember, Exhaust comes in towards the end wanting them to...
Oh, yes.
Hiring them to blow up the Earth because the Earth is in the way of his speedway.
Now, okay. I will say, where was the white-haired crazy priest that was sitting on that, like, platform near the end of the series? Was that Die Ranger, or was that Kaku Ranger, where you have that, like, main villain? And he might not be white-haired, but he was wearing, like, a lot of white.
Are you talking about the Gorma Emperor?
Yes.
Die Ranger?
Because he came in late into the series.
Well, he came in when they introduced the actual Gorma.
But that was still later in the series.
Like episode 17?
I swore he was introduced much later.
No.
Because I was going to say he was like the weakest final villain for me of that. He was the weakest part of that show for me.
Well, he wasn't the main villain.
Oh, I thought he was. But nonetheless, I think it can go six of one way, half a dozen of another way, just on how it is. But I am eager to see how the final lap goes. And yeah, we're laughing our excitement about Spindo just because of his introduction. But you never know. By the next time that we do a review in, like, let's say 5 episodes, we're like, oh my fucking God, what the hell? This is so stupid.
Just think about it, though. We just watched episode 36, so we have probably no more than 14 episodes left.
Well, yeah, because I'm assuming it's going to be possibly a 50 episoder.
I'm going to say probably 49.
Do you think so?
Well, let's see.
Well, did they give an idea of when Gojuger?
No, because it's too soon for that. Gojuger we probably won't start seeing until the end of December, early January. Because if we've got, all right, this is the 13th.
Yeah, because episode 36 aired this week, right?
3. Yep.
Okay.
4, 5. So 37, 39.
Because we will skip the New Year's holiday.
Skip the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So 44 on the 12th, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. Actually, that might, depending if there are no breaks outside of the New Year's break on Sunday the 5th, if they were to start, let's say they start Gojuger on March 2nd.
Yeah.
Then it'll be 50 episodes. If they start March 9th, it'll be 51 episodes.
Okay. Or they could have an episode break, or they could have a break where they could do like the episode 0.
Well, I was going to say, or yeah, they could always end it like on February 23rd, which would be 50 episodes, and then do some sort of anniversary special on the entire franchise on the March 2nd and start the new series on the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
That's under the assumption that there is no break outside of the 5th.
Well, yeah. Because they don't take off for holidays like what we typically do with our series, around a week off for Thanksgiving, depending on the day that it show airs.
Yeah, I guess based on that, it will be 50 or 51 episodes.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how things go. But overall, I'm still impressed with the show. There are some weak points, but I do feel that for erring on the side of caution of being kind of safe, like you say, that they're still demonstrating pretty good quality in their characters for both the heroes and villains to make them where they're enjoyable and you're not bored out of your mind. That's been doing all day. It pisses me off when I'm trying to talk during the meeting. I don't know if y'all can hear that, but our one toilet in the bathroom connecting to my office.
Oh, that's in the bathroom. Okay.
Keeps on kicking up.
Well, and then
maybe the cat's using it.
Let's see.
I don't know if I saw any new comments, but there could be one. Oh, Mr. Procter and Gamble. Thomas Proctor says, what will you say is the best late final villain intro change up?
When a main villain shows up late to the party. I'm trying to think, because let's see. Radagate was from the start of Jetman. June Ranger was this.
I think all the villains for Kaku Ranger
were there. Well, there was Kai, Bandora's son, in June Ranger. Let's see. Tyra.
What about Mega Ranger?
Nope, because it was.
Oh yeah, they were there from the start, weren't they?
Yep. because it was what's his name? Crap. No, I can't think of the professors. Let's see. I mean, there was Exhaust from Car Ranger, who was pretty funny, but he fit with the Car Ranger theme. Long for Geki Ranger showed up at the halfway point, but Long was okay.
You were a huge fan of him.
I'm trying to think.
I will admit, thinking about King Oger, just because it's so fresh in my mind, having the main villain come in, because it wasn't perfectly the halfway point.
No, it was the halfway point.
It was?
It was episode 26, I think.
Oh, I thought he came in a little bit
Nope.
later.
The Space Emperor, or whatever he was called. Yeah, he was the halfway point. That's what I'm trying to think of. Who has been in like shows up that's the main villain in the last 10 or less episodes? I think I'm going to go with Kai with Bandora's son from Jew
I don't
Ranger.
even remember. Well, I've never seen Jew Ranger, but I don't even know who he is.
I've never shown you Jew Ranger?
No.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't mean it's an.
I guess next year when I go to re-review Jew Ranger, we're watching Jew Ranger.
No. Fuck.
Don't.
Well, isn't. No, nobody from Jew Ranger has appeared in other series. So
What do you
I
mean?
meant like as a main character. I'm thinking of Kaku Ranger. No, was it Kaku Ranger who appears in Charlie Brown Ranger?
Yeah, but Dragon Ranger was in Changeman.
Yes, but I meant for shows that we watched afterwards as like a character.
Oh.
And yes, I am going to continue calling Gingaman Charlie Brown Ranger.
All right, but I think that's all we really have at this point.
Oh, Doug Dead.
Yeah,
Yes,
Doug Dead. We made so many jokes about his name. How did I forget? But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Bandora's son for off the top of my head right now of me going through every Sentai series.
You don't want to think of everybody from Alba Ranger? When you kind of had more of a big baddish?
Well, they were again. Desmodoria was there from the start.
Yes, but not as Desmodoria.
Yeah, he was. But all right, so that's all we've got for this round. We'll be back probably next week with Ultraman Arc.
And we will try to be a little bit more on top of.
Not necessarily.
I would like to be a little bit more on top.
Well, actually, no. Next, we probably should try to do this Saturday if we Gov with Silver Quill because we've got 7 through 10 to watch.
Which that works for me because once again, I'm healthy again. Well, for the moment until the next flu bug comes in and decimates the world.
All right. As always, click like, subscribe, the bell notification, everything else. YouTube, as you click on the support us, you can support us on Patreon and Bluesky at tokuaannetwork, Network, Facebook, Instagram, Discord at Kaiju no Kami, and the website is creativitybydesignllc.com. You can also buy cool Kaiju no Kami merchandise at creativitybydesignllc.com/shop. There's a link in the description below. And be on the lookout. I am currently about halfway through editing my original Kamen Rider review. Right now, it's on point to be released the week of Thanksgiving. So until next time, bye. End.